Hey there. What's up, guys? The ignorant mind, with its infinite afflictions, passions, and evils, is rooted in the three poisons: greed, anger, and delusion. Bodhidharma. So, we've all been well acquainted with how destructive greed can be. We've even seen how greed can lead to anger and delusion, but if you're unfamiliar with this story, you'll see how greed can also lead to absolute cringe, the likes of which seems to never fucking die. So, the year is 2006, and Hawthorne Heights is set to release their second album, If Only You Were Lonely. It was a concept album telling the tale of two kids in a long distance relationship. It's funny because I've always wondered why I liked this album so much, even though Hawthorne Heights albums are largely viewed as kinda average or maybe even below average sometimes. And to be honest, I kinda get it. Some of the melodies are a bit elementary, and if you're an older listener, things sound maybe too melodramatic. But for someone like me who literally ended his long distance relationship the month after this album came out, it was super good timing, or bad timing, however you want to look at it. So this song, This Is Who We Are, might be my favorite emo song ever. I don't know if that's weird to say, but it's in the very least in my top 10. A number of Hawthorne Heights songs are easily identifiable because of JT Woodruff's singing solos, especially in the early days, but this song lacks that. There's actual instrumentation that helps Woodruff's voice shine when he otherwise seems abandoned during his solos. Plus, it's got a nice groove, and it's really punchy. Anyway, the album is pretty good, with some great tracks throughout. It even has two versions of the cover, where one has the boy falling asleep on the phone, and the other has the girl doing the same. Adorable. So, Hawthorne Heights was signed to Victory Records at this time, and Victory decided to release this email to the Hawthorne Heights mailing list 5 hours before their album was to be released. Tomorrow, our second album, If Only You Were Lonely, will be in stores. We are reaching out to you because Hawthorne Heights can use your help. We need you, your friends, and anyone else you know that likes rock music to buy our album tomorrow. The only reason we are able to be a band is because of your support. Without you, we would not be able to do what we do. You buying our album tomorrow has much greater meaning than simply supporting Hawthorne Heights. Rock music needs your support. Our society and culture has put rock. It's funny, like this should actually be rock music, but they didn't put it in all capital letters. So I think I'll just say it for them. Our society and culture has put rock music on the back burner. If our album can debut at number 1, all of us will have taken rock music back to the top of the charts where it belongs. You might ask, how has rock been put on the back burner? A current example is an artist that we are up against called NeYo. Many people are saying that NeYo is going to outsell us because NeYo has had a tremendous amount of over-the-top mainstream media coverage. His album will be in stores tomorrow. Radio has played his single 160,000 times. Our single has been played. Our single has been played 3,800 times. We know that does not seem possible, but it is the truth. NeYo is on a major label. Hawthorne Heights is on an independent label. Rock music needs to win tomorrow. Independent needs to beat major tomorrow. If all of you take action, we can create history. The mainstream media may not choose to fully embrace this rock band from Dayton, Ohio, but all of you have. No one can take that away from us. It cannot be bought because it comes from the heart. This is so confusing. What do you mean it can't be bought? Clearly it can be bought. Just be on a major label, apparently, and you can buy the support. Or maybe he's saying you can't buy. don't know what the fuck he's saying. Anyway, let's just move on. Because this is some long ass shit, dude. That is what makes us different. Your support means everything to us and is the most valuable thing that we have. You are the people that we depend on. This is as much about you as it is about us. You hear our voices every night. Now, we need to hear yours. You see us at our merch table every night. We need to see you in the stores tomorrow. We cannot come out on top without you. Passion and music with real meaning has a chance to beat out what the media forces down our throats. No one expects us to win. We need to prove them wrong. They underestimate us. Please help us create history tomorrow. This is a call to arms, a battle cry. Not just for Hawthorne Heights, but for all of the other great rock bands and independent labels that we all love. All of us deserve this, and it is something that we can do together. Oh my god, this was such fuckery. Anyway, so we have some thoughts from readers from punknews.org so that we can see what other people thought of this at the time that this thing was released. So Etienne said, "Wow, they are fucking idiots." Indeed, yes. Colin wrote, "This is just a retarded, our album leaked 3 months ago, so please buy it, please." This is actually a pretty good point because album leaks at this time were often months in advance. Someone else said, Kid Rock comes out tomorrow, which will beat them as well. Now that's a fucking cheap shot, but you can understand why they'd say that. Then you had folks like Albin here who said, "It's a good sentiment, it's bound to sound self-serving, but it's still a cool goal. In theory, yes, it would be cool for a far less popular band or artist to grab the #1 spot on Billboard, thanks in part to their doting fans. The problem is that this email sounds like it's from the band, and it's not from the band, it's from Victory Records. And once you know that, the sincerity falls off a cliff. What was initially a cringy plea from a band to compete with another artist in a completely different genre, and quite likely a completely different fan base, now becomes a cringy cash grab from an indie label that doesn't have the resources of a major label but is being just as disgusting as a major label." Drummer Aaron Bucciarelli said to MTV, quote, "It's cool that our label is excited for our album and that they're promoting it to such a great deal, but I don't think that our fans are going to say, 'Oh wow, that album debuted at #1, I need to go pick it up.' They're going to go buy it because the album is out." I couldn't agree more. JT tried to not make it look so bad by trying to show the better side of the email by saying this, quote, "A lot of people in this industry expect us to go up against hip-hop acts, and how is that supposed to happen? The same fans aren't buying our records, so it was sort of in response to that. And we want people to know that if they buy our record or come to our show, you're going to get to meet us at the merch table, and that only happens on the independent music level. You're not going to see a 5-time platinum artist signing autographs at the merch table." Yeah, I mean, maybe. But honestly, reading the email, that just made me think of Justin Bieber's own desperate plea to get Yomi to #1. That was cringy as hell, and so is this. But this cringe doesn't stop there. Yet another email was sent to the Hawthorne Heights street team from Victory, which said this: "As for NeYo, the name of the game is to decrease the chances of a sale here. If you were to pick up a handful of NeYo CDs, as if you were about to buy them, but then changed your mind and didn't bother to put them back in the same place, that would work. Even though this record will be heavily stocked and you might not be able to move all the stock, just relocating a handful creates issues. Even though the store will appear to be out of stock, the computer will see it as in stock and not reorder the title once it sells down, and then NeYo will lose a few sales later in the week. Victory at all costs. Victory in the spite of all terror. Victory however long and hard the road may be, for without victory, there is no survival." Wow, if you're having a hard time believing that this is real, don't worry. The staffer who sent this email later said it was just a joke and that we shouldn't take things so literally. And I don't know about you, but I totally believe her. So I've scoured the web to find any instance of NeYo ever even mentioning the words Hawthorne Heights, and I can't find shit. But did Victory's guerrilla tactics lead to victory? Nope. NeYo's album got the #1 spot on the Billboard 200 album chart, selling 301,000 copies first week. HH debuted at #3, selling 114,000 copies first week. No, honestly, I think that's pretty damn good. That's a good amount of records for an indie label and for a band that was sort of on the cusp of mainstream. Because, and remember, their debut album only got as high as 56. But then again, I didn't say who got the #2 spot. No, it wasn't Kid Rock. It was the soundtrack for High School Musical. So that should have been the end, right? NeYo won the war he didn't even know he was fighting, and Hawthorne Heights sort of won because they did sell a lot of records, even though people gave them shit for shit they didn't even say. So the beef is over, right? Wrong. Because it was time for the real beef to begin between Hawthorne Heights and their own label, Victory Records. The band filed a lawsuit against Victory in August 2006, a couple months after If Only You Were Lonely was released, claiming that the CEO of Victory Records, Anthony Brummel's, quote, overly aggressive, unethical, and illegal schemes and tactics, including physically threatening music industry figures and scheming against other artists, have severely damaged the band's reputation and its relationship with fans. End quote. Hard to argue against that. The band even gives an example of Tony Brummel's business bullying, claiming that a program director at Q101 in Chicago was threatened for pulling a Taking Back Sunday song into rotation to the point that the program director pulled HH's song Saying Sorry. By the way, the song is called Saying Sorry. He didn't say sorry. Just wanted to get that clear. But there's more. The band also charged the label and Brummel with, quote, egregiously fraudulent accounting practices, quote, end quote, because HH believed that the band was owed over $1 million and that Victory had made in excess of $10 million from CD, DVD, and merch sales. When HH told their fans that they were leaving Victory, they made it clear that Brummel was the primary reason, calling him, quote, a man that cares more about his ego and bank account than the bands themselves, end quote. Victory and Brummel obviously countersued for breach of contract and also claimed that the band was doing the age-old trick of suing their current label in order to jump to a major label, an act that Victory claimed had severely damaged their reputation and demoralized its staff. They even claimed to have sent a cease and desist letter to Virgin Records and EMI. And I believe that claim was correct because I did see it. This played out for about a year, culminating with a federal judge in Chicago declaring that while a number of claims could not be substantiated, Hawthorne Heights could record elsewhere because there was no exclusivity provision. Which in and of itself is kinda surprising. Like if you really wanted to nail them down to just working with you, it's odd that that wouldn't be there, but I mean, I'm not a lawyer, so I don't know. So although the band didn't get any of the money they believed they were owed, they only released one last album with Victory, aptly titled Fragile Future, in 2008. 2 years later, Hawthorne Heights released their most highly rated release yet, Skeletons, which was not on Victory or Virgin Records, but on Wind Up Records in 2010. Meanwhile, Victory got one last album out of Hawthorne Heights, a greatest hits compilation titled Midwesterners, The Hits, which was also released in 2010. Ultimately, it's hard to say who won this beef. On the one hand, Hawthorne Heights didn't get the money that they believed that they were owed, but at least they only had to record one more album for Victory, and then they left. But on the other hand, if what HH had alleged was actually true, then Victory got to keep a buttload of money, but their reputation had been dragged through the mud because of their bizarre business practices. Then again, they did eventually sign A Day to Remember. Yeah, so I guess Victory goes to Victory. I mean, that's kind of awful, isn't it? Even if their Letters of Cringe did sell more records for Hawthorne Heights, the band lost fans and sales because of it. So that just affects everybody. Well, no wonder when Kanye tried to sue Universal and Sony in 2020, Hawthorne Heights tweeted at him saying, "Dear Kanye West, please do not sue your record label. Trust us. It doesn't work." Thanks for watching.